Special guest in conversation. He's been with us before on the programme. We talk food, we talk car. We're going to talk cars this time round as well. We talk books, and now we're talking tour. He's finally, to celebrate, what is it, 20 years, James Martin?
20 years.
20 years.
It is 20 years, yeah. 20 years since the bandana appeared on screen.
Dear me. I mean, why is it taking you this long to put together a theatre tour, which is actually, it's really good fun to do. I've done theatre tours.
Yeah.
They are... It's disbelievable.
I've aged in the last 3 months.
Have you really?
But it was taken that amount of time because of I've been asked for the last 15 years to do one. I'll be brutally honest with you. But for the last sort of, I suppose, 8 years, I've been watching other chefs do their tours and thinking, right, okay, and then turning up and I'm picking things that they've been doing. But I waited until the right people were involved in it. Like anything, like running a restaurant, you can't run it on your own. You need a team behind you.
Yeah.
So I waited for the appropriate team. We've got a great team behind me and great company doing it, and that's the reason why I said yes. And that and about 6 pints of lager, I think. That's what it was.
I bet it was 10. Because it is good fun, but you're right. It's somebody who will put it all together for you. So I don't know how many dates you've got on this.
35 dates, yeah.
Oh, you've agreed to 35. Okay,
Yeah.
35 dates, that's okay. So I'm assuming there's going to be somewhere to cook.
Yes, we've got
stage.
that.
I'm assuming there's a mirror.
No, no. This is big budget. This stuff. This is not just. This is big theatre bits. We've got 2 massive stage setups, huge screen above our head, and also I've pulled in favours from literally mates galore.
Really?
And they're doing VTs for it. We've got a very famous comedian who's just done all the voiceover for it. It was hilarious. He's done it because I phoned him up, said, "Will he do it?" And so he said, "Agree to that." And we've got literally the end bit of the show is I've been rehearsing 2.5 hours a day every day for 3 months.
What are you doing?
Just for the last 8 minutes.
You can't spoil it, can you, really?
No.
Is it a surprise?
It is a surprise, and we've got there's about 50 named people who have taken part in the video associated with the end bit. It's going to be... It's pretty cool.
So in your mind, so somebody comes to you and they go, right, we'd like to take you out on tour, and you go, let's say, a bit busy at the moment, got my television commitments, got a book to do, got the cars to look after, the bike and everything else. Let's incorporate all of this.
Well, it is that, but it's also about putting together as you know, a show. It's people are coming out of their house to come and see you.
Yeah.
The least you can do is put on a great show, and that's all to do with content. And I didn't want to stand on stage and going, oh, here's another scone recipe. Here's another 8-strand plait. Here's a tiramisu. So there's a lot of content gone into it. There's a lot of thought that's gone into it.
Yeah.
A lot of post-production as well. We start rehearsals shortly, and so there's a tremendous amount of work that's gone involved in it, even before we've even got there.
It's nerve-wracking.
I've just signed off the brochure. Literally today, I got the email of the brochure, and I'm going, right, this is all becoming a bit surreal now. But it is. I've been looking forward to it for months now, and I'm really hyped up about it because it's like a TV show, but you're on the road. But also there's social media now, so there's interaction with the people that are in the audience. So there's lots of things that'll be incorporated into what is 2 hours really.
2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
It'll be you'll sweat buckets.
Thanks very much.
No, you will. I know you will.
That in the kitchen anyway, so I'm used to the heat of the kitchen. The actual bit, I'll be honest with you, the food bit doesn't concern me.
No,
it's the end bit.
Right.
That's frightening the hell out of me, to be honest with you. Yeah, I agree to that. That was probably, like you say, after the 10th pint. But it's the end bit that concerns me. But it's it's.
Did you agree to this many theatres, or did they say, listen, just put a little tour together, and then gradually they come back to you and they go, we've sold out here, so we'd like to put into.
That's exactly what has happened. Yes, York in particular. So we stuck another date in York, but this is it. There, yeah, it's. I didn't think, as a young kid when I used to walk around London, that I'd be appearing at Hammersmith, and we're on at Hammersmith for one night. Yeah,
no,
yeah, we are. Yeah, we're on. At
These are big venues.
Yeah, thanks very much for that.
Yes. Well, no, actually, the funny thing, somebody always said to me, the bigger the venue, the easier it is to work. It's only a small venue where they can see the beads of sweat forming.
Yeah.
But if you're working a big venue, I tend to find the bigger venue, the easier it was to work.
Oh, thanks for that. All right,
me.
cheers.
So you're all right on big venues.
Am I? All right. Well,
Yeah,
the
you should be.
weird thing is with the shows that you do, you know, Saturday mornings, you got three odd million people watching. All I see is just sort of, 6 hairy cameramen. That's all I see. I don't see. There's no.
They're still there, are they?
Yeah, there's no audience behind them. You know what I mean? It's the interaction that you get when you go out and do live shows like the Good Food Show, and there's 3,000 in the audience. I'm really looking forward to it, to be honest, and I hope people come out and see it, because it's the guys who are running it. They run huge concerts, as you know, Live Nation.
Yes,
They're colossal concerts they do. So they've got a tremendous amount of knowledge and really want to make this happen, and really want to make this the chef's show, if that makes sense. But
yes, I know. I've spoken to people before who've sort of done them outside in marquees and stuff like that. But it is that interaction now, people moving from television to all of a sudden there they are live in a theatre, and people go, oh, he's much taller. We never didn't think he was that tall,
Or not as fat as he looks on TV, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but you know what television's like, it puts pounds on. But it is true, it's all of a sudden taken something that could be fairly bland on the television to something that's interesting, and now you interact with loads of other people.
But that's why you put in different things. So it's not just, I watched the other guys doing the food shows, bits and pieces, and to be fair, some of it is just basically just chatting, which I didn't want to do. Some of it is basically just cooking, but in actual fact that's quite boring. Whereas if you incorporate everything together, and also you pull in mates and surprises, and you keep the audience constantly thinking, that's what this is about. It's what's happening next. What's going? And there's some quite quirky stuff in there. The
interesting thing will be, after you finish doing this tour, you will then go back home and you sit there going, what do I do now?
No, I've already had the phone call. They want to do a bigger one next year. I've already had that.
Already?
They've already had that phone call already. They've been on. I said, well,
they must be very confident then.
Well, I don't know. They seem confident. All I can do is, we've sold quite a few tickets. I know that.
Yeah, well, you need to sell quite a few tickets.
We've sold quite a few tickets, and it's. But I'm hoping that I think when word gets around about what the content of it is, that it'll just start to morph into something even bigger. Because it is. We put a tremendous amount of work in there, and looking at. If we do it next year, we're looking at including quite a few other different things as well.
So you could do stadiums next year.
Well, I don't know.
Well, that's what all the comics do. The comics started off doing smaller venues, then the Fairfield Halls in Croydon and places like that, and then they go, why don't you just cut your losses and do a stadium?
Well, that's what the guy who does I've learnt, and you think merch. The guy who does the merch is a guy called Alfie Hitchcock.
Of course.
Beat that, there you go. He's doing the merch. He says, well, no, that's where they all started, but I'm really pleased with the team, and that's the key to it. Yeah. You need a great team around you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the set, because I've just signed that off. So we've
signed. Oh, so you've got quite a hand in this.
Well, yeah,
you've signed off the brochure.
Well, we've signed off the brochure. We've signed off the set.
Have you signed off the merch?
Merch is.
How much merch is there? Is there
there's t-shirts, mugs, and I don't know. And stuff like that, I don't know.
And then there's the book.
Brochures, and there's an amazing prize in the brochure as well, which is pretty cool. It's going to be. I'm really, really excited about it. And it's after 20 years, it's difficult to get excited about stuff, because you've done a lot of things, television-wise.
You've never done this.
But I've never done anything like this. But the experience that you have from doing live shows for the last 18 years, then it's putting all that lot together, and everything that you've learned all into one thing, and it's something that people won't anticipate and won't expect from me, particularly the end, because that is.
We can't ask about the end, ladies and gentlemen. He can't tell you, it's a surprise. You have to go along to Plates, Mates and Automobiles. So it's a cooking, talking, speed extravaganza.
Yeah,
I never knew about the car thing. We've talked before, and I don't think we've ever talked about cars before.
You're a car nut as well, you see.
Actually, I'm not really.
Right.
I told you what I drive, but I'm not actually a car nut. I just know petrol goes in one end and the garage maintains it.
Right. Well, you need that with the car that you've got as well.
No, you see, now you think that. Do you think they have a bad record?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, but
what? Because I've seen people with sort of higher class models than me on different vehicles, and they spend most of their time up on bricks.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm lucky, actually.
You've been lucky.
Yeah, I've only got 31,000 on the clock on this one, so it's nice, and it's in a nice cut. They always give them funny names, but it's nice to have a bit of room to drive. I've driven Minis and I've driven Fiat Tipos and things like that, and I quite like to drive a bigger car.
I race Minis, you see, and for a guy who's 6'3", you almost sit on the back seat when you race.
I was going to say, can you get in it?
Yeah. I race them. I love them, and I love the race minis, the old 1960s ones. I've got the ex-Paddy Hopkirk Monte Carlo car, as well as the other the works cars, F1 cars, Ferraris, bits and pieces. I like cars. I like peculiar sort of stuff as well. I've just recently bought the late great Keith Floyd's car.
I can't believe that was even in existence.
No, it's amazing. First of all, about 2 years ago, his daughter, he passed away 10 years ago now, his daughter phoned me up out of the blue and said, look, we're looking at selling his stove, his oven. Anyway, I looked at it. It's been in a shed for quite a long time, so it needed a lot of work to it. So anyway, unfortunately, I didn't get it because I think it was a bidding war with a lot more wealthier chefs than me, and they got it. One of them's got it out there, and then she phoned me up literally about a month ago and said, we're selling his car. We know you're a car fanatic. I said, right, fine, no problem. We did the deal. I literally sent a guy out there in a transporter to pick it up from the south of France. It's been brought back. It literally arrived about 3 days ago at my house, and it's still in the transporter. And I literally opened up the door, and I phoned my mates, and I went, you are never going to believe this. Just come and have a look. And you open the door, it does smell like odd bins.
That's right. Well, it would. Keith Floyd.
It's unbelievable.
Do you restore?
Well, it's his car, isn't it, really? So where do you go? And it's been sat there in my garage thinking, right, what do I do with it? It's rusted, it's dented. And I'm thinking, no, all I'm going to do is just do it mechanically. I'm just going to sort it out mechanically, make sure it's all...
And can you do that?
No, I've got a guy who
you've got people who do. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, sort it out mechanically, and then but it's got all rust on it, it's got dents on it, but it's Keith Floyd's car. He used it for some of his programs. He drove it for 12, 15 years. And I never thought when I was training to be a young chef, when I remember at college when I was 16 years old, we did a dinner, Keith Floyd dinner. And Keith Floyd turned up, and we were doing I think it was a 5-course meal at college. And he stood up on a lectern introducing the first course and fell off. That was... well, he didn't kind of fell off, he just sort of...
Just fell over.
Yeah, just fell over, yeah. And I thought, I want to be him. This is cool, 16 years old. And I never thought I'd end up one day, having a... Which is for a chef, I suppose, and for me, a piece of history, because I realised how good he was. Having done this for a living for 20 years, you realise how talented he was.
Well, I mean, I don't count this as coming out of retirement, you see. I mean, coming out of retirement means going on tour.
We'll come round to that later.
We'll come round to that, yes. No, this was a conversation that kind of started, about the albums reissued.